ติสหัมปติกัดอัญชลีอันทิวรังอยาจทาสันติทัสสัตตาปาราชาคชาติกาเทเสตุธัมมังอนุกรรมปิมังปัจฉัง
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะบุญทังธัมมังสังฆังนะมัสสามิ So this is the fourth talk for this during this rains retreat. It's going by pretty quickly. Here we are, and as things are beginning to calm down, we're having less work. The QT is finally almost finished, so hopefully people are just enjoying the process of things calming down, become more still, and just allowing the mind to start to brighten up, to become more clear and calm, and just abiding in that. Sometimes we can be a bit impatient with our practice. Things are calm, but then this bit of craving comes up, and we start to wonder, oh, now what happens next? I've got my breath going now. Wow, now what's the next step, Ajahn? What's the next step? What's the next jhana? Am I getting jhana soon? I've been with the breath for a while now, about 3 or 4 weeks. And it's fine, but what were the good stuff coming? And, and that's the wrong question I always remind people. Never the right thing. It's always the next step. Because that's the way of the world, going on to the next thing, the next level, the next goal to reach. As Dhamma practitioner, the question is, what are you doing right now? And allowing things to open up according to the causes and condition. So just happy to be in the present moment. Happy to be with the body. Happy to be with the breath. And then things will happen on their own. So a lot of time I encourage people not to do too much reading about the different states of samadhi, different states of meditation. Because when we start reading, like Ajahn Therodhamma says, then we start to fantasize, we start to think about it, we start to proliferate, imagine, and then we start to crave. I wonder what's, I'm sitting right here with my breath, but I wonder what the fourth jhana feels like. Well, the eighth jhana can be really wonderful, I heard. All sorts of things. And we think, happiness is always somewhere out there. And we just have to endure the pain in the body, endure the present moment, and one day we'll get there. We think, meditation, the practice, is about, logging in the hours. If I get enough hours in, if I get enough breath in, then something's going to happen. Nibbana will happen suddenly. But it's not about that. Sometimes we meditate to be happy. We practice to be happy. But really, remember the sutta discussion for Ajahn Therodhamma. Samadhi is a result. And one of the causal conditions for a still mind, a concentrated mind, is a sense of well-being and a sense of happiness already. Yeah, so just remember, happiness or samadhi doesn't arrive from willing, doesn't arrive from craving, doesn't arrive from wanting. Arrives from a sense of happiness, a sense of well-being, a sense of contentment. Just happy to be here, happy to be in the present moment, happy just to be watching your breath, not wanting anything. The mind becomes more calm, right? Stillness doesn't happen if there's craving, because there's craving, there's movement in the mind, moving towards something or moving away from something. That's what pushes the mind away from the present moment. Is craving, wanting to get something or wanting to get rid of something, somebody, some situation, some noise, some circumstances. But we're learning to be content. We're learning to make peace with the body, with the pain, with the thinking mind, the wandering mind, the fearful mind, the anxious mind. Just to be with those things in the present moment. And then we see that they arise and then they pass away on their own. We find that there's nothing that we have to do. That our job is pretty simple. It's just to be aware, to be awake, to be careful, and to care. A bit of metta, to accept whatever is happening and try to learn from that, to be from that. So as we meditate, I know we meditate to become enlightened, to be happy, but my encouragement is put a bit of happiness and well-being when you sit down. Brighten up the mind with a few reflection of, count your blessings. I always try to encourage people. Think about the things you can be grateful for. Things that is missing in your life, or in your practice, and where you want to be. The fact that you're here in the meditation monastery, in the Dhamma hall, sharing the space, the time with a group of good intention people, with kind-hearted people, that in itself is enough. That in itself should bring lots of joy and happiness into the mind. And then we use that contentment, the gratitude, the happiness, and put on the breath, the body, or the mantra. You find it's easier to stay with your meditation object. Because there's a bit of stability, a bit of happiness already there. The reason we move away from a meditation object is to discontentment. So in order to provide an antidote to the discontent is we find ways to reflect with gratitude. Gratitude and contentment helps allow the mind to stay in the present moment, to stay with its meditation object. So remember, I was always kind of remind people, the skills we need in meditation are the same skills that we need to live in the world in a skillful way, in a productive way. And this idea of gratitude and contentment, this idea of looking for the positive things in your life and not dwell and obsess on the negative things. And we all have our dramas, sure. We all have things that could go wrong, that have gone wrong. But we always have things that are also very beautiful, very inspiring, very uplifting. So we try to focus on that. No matter what you think is wrong in your life, wrong in the situation, you're here, you're alive, you're in Australia, there's lots and lots of things right in your life already. The fact that you're sitting in the monastery, you have a lot of good karma already. The fact that you come into contact with Buddhist teaching, teaching on peace and stillness, teaching on compassion, teaching on generosity. It's a major, major tool that we can use anywhere. We have what it takes just to still the mind. We have enough wisdom to solve any difficulties that we meet with. All we need is a bit of faith and confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Faith and confidence and our own innate wisdom to solve these problems. And a lot of time it's just to be in the present moment, be still, and you'll see the solution will come out. Same with meditation. You don't need to go anywhere. You need to go to the next stage. You need to go to all 8 jhanas. You don't need to log in your hours and hours of meditation, get your 8 hours or 10 hours in. You just need to be present, to be here. And you need to turn the mind towards a bit of gratitude and contentment. Happy to be here. Happy to be sitting here. Happy to be walking backwards and forwards. Happy just to be in this body. It's not perfect. There's always aches and pains. There's always a bit of noise. But all in all, it's pretty good. You're in the forest, lots of space to practice the Dhamma, well supported by the beautiful lay people that come to the monastery. Really, life doesn't get any better than this. So hopefully we're using that, the good conditions that we have, to further our practice, to reflect on the kindness, the generosity, the support. And then with that foundation, that is the foundation for happiness and contentment. The mind becomes still naturally. And things starts to open up. And you see clearly. And the body starts to feel lighter. It's easier to sit, easier to walk. And then as the minds become more still, we see clearly, where is it that we're making problems for ourselves and others? Where is it that we're adding suffering into our life? As the Buddha taught over and over again, to remind us, so much suffering in our life is self-inflicted. It's completely optional. It's through wrong seeing things, through relating things in an unskillful way. If there's wisdom, suffering disappears. And that's a great reflection and reminder. If you're suffering, reminder, where is it that I'm making problem for myself and others? Where is it that I'm not seeing clearly? Where is it that I'm attaching to something or craving or wanting something that I can't have? And the usual suspect of craving to always be healthy, craving to always be successful in everything we do, craving this idea of never making any mistakes. Those are all impossible things. Or expecting people to always say nice things and not to do mean things to us. That's also unrealistic. So as we practice Dhamma, we accept these things that come into our life. And we don't make a problem out of it, we try to learn from it, to grow from that. To learn acceptance, learn how to forgive. I always remind people, especially the community that lives in the monastery, the issue is not whether we have an argument. We're certainly going to do that. Argue, and from time to time, hopefully not all the time. But the issue is whether we learn from that. We learn to forgive each other, to move on, and still be friends. As monks even, we get into arguments all the time. But we learn to move on from that, to forgive, to not to hold grudges. Who said what to whom, who was right, or who, whatever. So in life, in the monastery, we learn to make peace with each other, to make peace with the body, make peace with the present moment. And we find that, things start to flow along. what could be problems isn't a problem, because we are not allowing those things to build up. We're going with the flow. We're going along with things. We're moving towards contentment, not towards contention, as Ajahn Amro says. And actually, it's not that hard to do. Yeah, once if you remember the Dhamma, once we have mindfulness and clarity in the moment, when we're not carried away with things in our head. So as the rains retreat progress, things become to calm down. Hopefully, people are just enjoying being in the here and now, being in the present moment, being at the beautiful forest that we have here. And once we are here, present, awake, aware, and receptive, then the mind starts to open up all by itself. And we can experience, we can feel things, see things that we haven't noticed before because we're busy looking for the next thing, looking for the next stage, trying to build a sense of self. So remember, I always try to remind people, yes, there's work to do, but sometimes it's good to remind yourself, nothing to do, nowhere to go. Really, our job is just to be here, be present, and see what happens. Yeah, and I guarantee you it's a very interesting journey, being present and not moving. The mind is much more interesting than anything the world can offer you. So, as we continue with the rains retreat, with the different people comings and goings, but as this community begins to start to settle down, I encourage people just to, always bring up, use the tools of reflections on gratitude and contentment. Use that to power our practice. And be aware of the pool of Mara, to always want to go to the next thing. But just to be present. Have faith and trust and confidence in the Dhamma. Just be present. It's not a trip, it's not a journey onward. It's a journey inwards to the present moment, inward to the body and the mind. It's the most interesting journey that we can make. So I offer those few words for your reflection on this Saturday evening.
Andamayan Dhammakatha Sadhu Karang Tatha Mase